So welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon again, and welcome again to Caritas Asia regional webinar on Caritas volunteers in the celebration of International Volunteers Day. We celebrated yesterday on the 5th of December, and now we are inviting everyone for a sharing of experiences, best practices, even challenges on uh, being volunteers or volunteering in Caritas. So we are here with a good number of colleagues from Caritas organizations around Asia, and I'll be giving the floor to our colleague Arpana Karki from Caritas Nepal. She is the head of humanitarian desk of Caritas Nepal with years of experience in humanitarian response, preparedness, disaster risk reductions, even volunteer management. So, Arpana, the floor is yours, and feel free to also share in between your facilitation some experiences or probably some insights, new learnings from Caritas Nepal. Over
Thank
to
you,
you,
Ari.
Arpana.
Thank you, Ari. Are you able to hear me? Yes, thank you. Hello and namaste to all of you. I'm Arpana from Caritas Nepal, the facilitator for today's webinar. On behalf of Caritas Asia, I would like to extend a warm welcome to each one of you to this important webinar on the role of Caritas volunteers in MEAL, marking the 39th International Volunteers Day. As we know, we have lots of in thousands in numbers volunteers around the globe among our Caritas member organization. So we always consider them as the heart of Caritas. And today we celebrate the remarkable contribution made by volunteers, especially the Caritas volunteers worldwide. To highlight the significance of their work, Pope Francis has shared a beautiful message urging all charitable volunteers to enrich each other through a simple smile, a gesture of friendship, or a fraternal grace. These small acts of kindness and care are at the core of volunteer spirit. As we come today, as we come together today to discuss the role of volunteer in meal, let's acknowledge their dedication and passion that the volunteers bring to their work and how the efforts contribute to the success of Caritas mission across the globe. We look forward to an insightful discussion and learning from one another during this webinar. Uh, Without wasting any time, now I would like to invite Ms. Jenny, the meal manager at Caritas Philippines, to share her insight on the importance of meal and the crucial role that volunteers play in this process. Over to you, Jenny.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Jeannie from Caritas Philippines, and pardon me if every now and then there's some kind of static in my in my context because I am mobile. Just came from the during our needs assessment and a disaster. But anyway, I am not the presenter. But before we call them, allow me to give you some context to the importance of engaging volunteers as one of the meal strategies. So first of all, what is a volunteer or who is a volunteer? Now, answering this question may vary from one organization to another, depending on its local context and perspective. Volunteers play a crucial role. That's what Arpana mentioned earlier. They are the success of an organization and community strategies. As per United Nations or as per UN, more than 1 billion people volunteer globally, and many of them working in their own countries and communities. And often, the most visible aspect of volunteering are around service delivery in communities. People engage in voluntary work to help eliminate poverty, improve basic health services, education, and even reduce the risk of the DRR. So to all of us attending in this webinar, especially the volunteers, hooray to you. So I have here some question. What do you think is your role in monitoring and evaluation, or what we call in meal? So may I request you to kindly type in the chat box, and we will read this later. So please type your answer in the chat box. What do you think is your role as a meal? Now, and then we will come back to that later. Now, as peervolunteer.org, volunteering is a noble act that allow individuals to contribute their time, skills, and energy to help others and make a positive impact in the community. People choose to volunteer for various reasons. Maybe this is one of your reasons, such as personal fulfillment, or simply because of opportunity. So these are the chance, and all of us, you are the agent of the change significant impact. What are the rewards of volunteering? Later, after listening from the presenters, we might get some perspective on volunteering in a different context. One of the guiding principles, remember, no, as what Arpana also mentioned about the from Pope Francis. And aside from that, we also have the Caritas fraternal cooperation about the common good and the community. It implies that collaboration of the sectors of community and not working in isolation. So therefore, the Caritas approach is to listen to the needs and wishes of the community, especially to the poor and the most vulnerable. So maximizing the role of volunteers in meal, again, for others, we need to, again, restart. What is meal? Meal is monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. So the volunteers in meal enhance community participation on monitoring and evaluation, as this empowers the community to facilitate community self-learning where they can reflect and take appropriate action and various tools they going to report. Now, one of the in your area, you may call it in a different terminology, but for others, they call it CMIL. CMIL is community-led monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. Now, this is one of the minimum standards in CMDRR. This is adopted by some countries, including Caritas Philippines, as it supports the localization and empowerment of volunteers on meal. Now, this is a nomenclature from the various dioceses or the various country. Others, they call them community organizers, or others may call them community animators. But primarily, their function is really ensuring that the community, the local government, and the church are cohesive and complementing each other in the roles in a project or an activity in responding to the call or a crisis. They participated in a social preparation or project for them to really grasp the concept and context of the project, looking into the perspective of community participation. One of the purpose of having volunteers in meal is the learning and improvement by the community, project staff, and local organization. They are engaging and involving from the designing until to the evaluation, accountability, and learning. So, however, managing a team of volunteers effectively requires specific skills and knowledge. Now, this is our challenge. It's always volunteer management training is essential to keep staff and volunteers with tools, techniques needed to recruit, train, and train a team of dedicated volunteers. So this is the context of the role of volunteers in meal. So always make sure that meal, the reason, the real essence of why we do monitoring and evaluation is because of accountability and learning. And who is those accountability and learning? The accountability and learning are for our community, for the meal, for the volunteers. So this is the context of the role of volunteers in meal. So before I give the floor to our presenters, I am now going to read in the chat box. Arpana, maybe you can help us read in the chat box. What are the role of the volunteers in meal? So maybe if they already have it there.
Yeah, I think we have only three. Okay. I think they have only two message: assessment team role in emergency and designing and coordinating the project development and progress.
Okay. There are only two, but it's a big role. No, it's a big role, and I know there's much more. No, So I know that, being a volunteer, again, you are our local heroes, and we really commend everybody here. And then not only for the volunteers, but all the staff here, no, who are really into volunteering. Thank you so much. And with this, thank you so much. And let us now listen to our presenters. Back to you, Arpana. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny, for joining us despite your travel. This shows like how we are so engrossed in all our work that we do. And maybe I cannot summarize what you have said, but I could just emphasize with a beautiful quote by an American author, Elizabeth Andrew. Volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they just have to have a heart. This perfectly captures the core of volunteerism. It is not only having more time, but about having the passion and dedication to make a difference. So we are not only acknowledging the volunteers working for disaster or humanitarian assistance, but we are acknowledging all the volunteers working in all developmental sectors. So now we would like to move ahead with the second presentation, which focuses on the experience of Caritas volunteer during the flood response in Kyrgyzstan. It is my pleasure to introduce and give the floor to Father Guido, the Director of Caritas Kyrgyzstan, and Ms. Anastasia, the Communication Officer, and Ms. Eva, the Director of Caritas Atarau. Over to you, Father Guido, and your team.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start our presentation. On the occasion of World Volunteer Day, and I would like to underline that we are always impressed by the experience of our colleagues from Caritas Internationalis and Caritas Asia, especially in the field of work with volunteers. We hope to reach this high level one day. Please, the next slide. Let's start the first couple words about our country. Kazakhstan is a large country in Central Asia with population 20 million people. We will not touch closer information, but what I would like to mention that Kazakhstan is primarily Muslim country, though it's also multi-confessional and there are represented all the world religions. The number of Catholics is less than 1% of the population. It's about 120,000 people or even less. Very brief information that at the initiative of our president, the year 2020 was declared the year of the volunteer in Kazakhstan. According to the official information, the number of volunteers in the country has reached 200,000 people. Kazakhstani youth work as UN volunteers in various countries around the world. On July 2023, there was held an International Volunteer Forum in Astana with the participation of the president, high-ranking UN representatives, and volunteers from more than 30 countries. Let's come back to our organization. We are the only one country in Central Asia which has 4 dioceses. You can see them on the slide. Unfortunately, we cannot give an exact information about how many people work in diocesan Caritas, but at least 1 director and 1 bishop. Caritas Kazakhstan is a relatively young organization that was established in 2018, although Caritas officially appeared in Kazakhstan in 1995 through 2 projects operating across the country that were soup kitchens for people in need and pharmacies for the distribution of medicines. The next slide, please. The number of volunteers in our organization is hard to count, not because there are too many of them, but because we didn't collect the data about them. The volunteers in organization are mostly parish people, young people, Sometimes these people are from the families of Caritas staff. Usually parish people, especially youth, are inspired by the parish priest and can work very active, but the bad thing is when the inspiration of the leader is gone, the volunteers disappear. The other part of the volunteers that we have available, these are our beneficiaries. For example, we have collaboration with the Center for Support for People with Addictions, Alcohol or Drugs. They got help from us in form of clothes and other things that we get from our ecological project named Take Back. After some time, those people offered their help to us. They helped to move our center to Center for Children with Down Syndrome. This is one of our projects. These people helped us to move into another building. They also offered their help during purchasing and distributing the content of food baskets, which we offer to those in need once a month. This is our social project. So some of our beneficiaries became our volunteers. The third group of our volunteers comes from our personal contacts. The small example, for our project for children with Down syndrome, we invited the cinema and movie actor who became our ambassador, and for 2 years he participates in our social media campaigns for raising the awareness on the problems of people with disabilities in Kazakhstan. Sometimes we also attract some volunteers for our events, among them photographers, video makers, or people who just would like to join our initiatives. These are people who share our vision and would like to join and to be a part of this type of activities. I think we will leave the next slide because I told about the information on this slide. The next slide, we just can look through. And the next information we will hear from Father Guido. The floor to you, Father. Maybe there are questions to me.
Sorry, because I have a problem with the connection. The connection is very unstable, so I just came in right now, so I didn't hear what you said. Anyway, very briefly, because from one side there are a lot of issues, of things that could be added around the reality of volunteering in our country and inside the church. I would like to start from another point that is not in the slide, but was one of the points of the presentation, is about challenges and perspectives and possibilities. Actually, we know that they are the same thing. I mean that challenges are opportunities and opportunities are challenges, and we are facing this both in the church and in the society, in the local society. And for all these reasons, we have facing for many years problem in proposing our activity, our mission in the form of volunteering. Don't forget that we are coming from Soviet culture, Soviet mentality, where all the social issues and the social influence in the society was completely entrusted to the state. So there was no need from the side of the population to take care of many of the social issues. So this is one of the point we face during many years in the past. Now, as I heard in the beginning that Nastya underlined, the situation in the country is changing. It's changing a lot. Unfortunately, I can say that is not changing with the same how to say, power inside the church, or let's say different for different reasons. One is difficulty to have a stable community. Mainly, our parishes are quite small, and just because part of the community is made by young people. Young people are moving quite a lot for a reason of studying or working, forming new families, and so on. So it's quite difficult to have a stable group of people working and being under the leadership of the bishop or the parish priest or any other leader. So about the most effective areas, for sure there are areas that are not depending on our actual leadership. So young people and new people joining the church or joining Caritas, they can bring a lot of expertise in our projects and in the work of the organizations. I'm talking both about national and diocesan, as we have in Kazakhstan. So different sectors that are quite often out of the competence of, for example, of priests. Let's think about technical support of all the field of fundraising, of public relation, spreading the message and the image of the organization beyond the border of parishes of the church, actually. So about this, the role, at least in our country, the role of volunteers could be really huge. Again, we come back to the issue of not having a quite stable reality in our organization. So this is one of the point. Next one. So during the floods in this year, was for all the organization, let's say, not only for volunteers, was a huge opportunity of learning. For us, was the first experience. And this means that, as I told during an event recently in Bali, at least for me, was the opportunity to learn, to understand that I didn't know anything about this. So all the theory that I could hear during years of seminars, workshops, and this and that disappeared completely, facing the real problem. So in this light, I can say that for us, the presence and the reality, again, the reality, not the knowledge of what is, but the reality of fraternal cooperation was a huge point for us to understand even the first steps to do in facing the situation, in evaluating the situation, monitoring and planning our intervention. So again, was not about numbers, figures mainly, because what in comparison with the magnitude of the event, what we could think and we actually made during this in the framework of this project was really something small, okay? But for our experience was really a huge step. And talking with our colleagues during that time and after, the hope is that could be the first step of a new experience, of a new page of our organization. Next one. Well, here I put 3 points that for me, before theoretically and now more practically, I understand that it's important in relation to the volunteers and to the activity of volunteering. So it's really important to have a clear, regular communication with the volunteers or with the people that could join the organization for volunteering in our projects or in our regular activity of the organization. A huge role we experienced during this time is training. So forming the mentality, forming the main principles of our activity, and all the aspects of practical activity connected with the one or the other project. So in this, having a big lack of experience, of knowledge, the role of our colleagues, other organization in Caritas Asia is huge. And the other point that seems to me quite important is the involvement of volunteers in planning the activity. This I seems to me at least that it's important because is having roots in the communities. So volunteers sometimes are those who can bring in the needs,
Seems like Father is having some
Yes.
problem with his internet. Maybe Anastasia, you would like to take forward the presentation?
I'm not sure because we didn't discuss together what he would like to express. It's a big challenge for us because we work on the building of volunteering in our organization from time to time, from project to project. We have no clear strategy. We have no data collection. We have no feedbacks collection. So there is a plan for us for the coming year. Right in December, on Friday 13th, we will have a meeting for the whole team. And we will discuss, among others, also the questions, issues of our organization about starting to make something to bless you. To start doing something in building volunteers community, maybe, because Father several years tried to make something, because he arranged meetings for volunteers, but on these meetings participated only the staff of organization or some people from the staff's relatives or the closer community of staff members of Caritas. Thank you, Father, that you let me here alone to explain what would you like to mention.
Internet. Technical issues. So, where we are?
The last slide. The previous
okay.
one, I told about that our organization thinks that this is the priority for the next year to work on volunteering, to make something more active than we did before.
Yeah, let's say that was the quite often was a discussion with our colleagues, and I remember conversations with Ari, with friends from CRS, from and last year probably with Shimrei. That was in our plans to develop the activity with volunteers. We tried in the past, especially in the field of emergency response, but one of the main points was that on the social level, on the state level, nobody knew about our organization. So again, talking about the social, the Soviet heritage, the government doesn't like when private organizations are trying to do something during emergency situations. So we tried in the past to propose to our help, our involvement in different situations, but they refused all the time. Now, this time was again was difficult for two reasons. One, again, for lack of knowledge about our organization, and the second was due to the let's say bad practices that happened around this event. So was a distrust from the side of population and authorities too, as well, due to the negative experience caused by scammers. So people using the situation, the emergency situation, in order to collect money and then disappear with the money. And so when again, when our volunteers this time try to talk with the people, to collect data and so on, was a lot of distrust in the people, because they didn't know who we are, from where we are, why we are collecting data. We want to have information about their families, their situation, and so on. So this is a huge point that needs to be developed, because surely with a different let's say image, a different history of the organization, would be much easier to be part of the process of emergency response. And again, was a lack of experience in all of us, and surely in volunteers as well, in managing conflicts with the people. Because it's clear that when you face such reactions from the people, and you think, you come and you think that because you are proposing a help, everybody will accept you with an open heart, open mind, and it's not so. At least not always. And so it's so important, again, to be trained in this, so that you can anyway continue the conversation and propose your help, not leaving the situation just because of a simple conflict. And yep, that's it, finally. And it's our awareness that again we came to this situation new for us, knowing that we didn't know anything, we had no experience, and we really want to learn. And this approach remained even after even more, let's say, after the experience of floods. So we are grateful for the support of Caritas Asia and of our colleagues from other organizations. And we hope that this could be really the first step of a long story in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Guido and his team. I think many of our challenges, like the ones we are facing in Nepal, is very similar to yours, especially with the disappearance of the volunteers. We train a lot of volunteers, but due to unemployment and the political instability, the youth, they migrate to other countries. So when we are in need of them, they are not anywhere to be seen. And Father, something to acknowledge, we do have challenges in all the projects, and we are learning also, no? Like the way you are learning. So it's a good start. And I think Caritas Asia is there for us, for our capacity building and to support us in all the situation that we have.
Arpana, please unmute.
Arpana, you're muted.
Sorry. So thank you once again, Father, for your sharing. I think everyone can relate to your challenges. Everyone's facing the same. But as a Caritas family, we are always there to support each other. And this platform is something that's helping everybody to work forward, walk forward. And maybe I cannot summarize everything, but what we can say is alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So we are now moving into the final presentation, which will focus on the role of Caritas volunteers in summer camp for children in Kyrgyzstan. It is my pleasure to introduce Father Remigius Kaliski, SJ, the director of Caritas Kyrgyzstan, and Ms. Regina Ibrahimova, a student and volunteer from Caritas Kyrgyzstan. I'm sorry if I have mispronounced the name. Over to you, Father, and the team.
Good afternoon, everyone, especially for today's feast of St. Nicholas, who is very much connected with charity work. May I say something in the beginning about our staff. Can you hear me? Okay. So it is just next to me. It is Miss Anya. She is working in Bishkek. Miss Marina, also working in Bishkek. Miss Victoria, our accountant. Father Joseph from Vietnam, who is our collaborator, and me. And online is also our volunteer, Regina. Just to say something about the Kyrgyzstan, because it is not very famous country. We are neighbors of Kazakhstan, and we are good neighbors and friends with Father Guido, and we have some common projects even. So Kyrgyzstan is in the Central Asia. Our neighbors are also China, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. On the photo, you see on the top our center, rehabilitation center for children, and my talk will be mainly about this center, because during the summer we organize a quite big number of camps for children, teenagers, young adults, mainly for children with special needs. Next slide, please. Always it is a question from which environment we have volunteers, mainly from our parishes. In Kyrgyzstan, we have 6 parishes. It is photos from these parishes. It is not big number of Catholics here, but it is a really young people are interested in doing something good, and it is a deep human nature to be a gift and to help others everywhere and in each religion. And also our teenagers, I see they would like to help. And our goal and challenge is to organize good activity for young people who would like to help, especially from our parishes. Next slide, please. So our rehabilitation center on the very nice and this place, which is a lake, 200 kilometers long, Isikul. During the summer, we organize about 40 camps, different camps. Some camps are independent, some camps are organized exactly by us. Each of our staff worked there during the summer and know this place. And main goal is the camps for children with special needs from different parts of Kyrgyzstan and also from Kazakhstan. And we already exist 14 years, so we have a good network of organization, foundation of parents with handicapped children. So it is really, we are overcrowded, we can say, and it is no problem to find people who would like to participate in the camps which we organize. And of course, we invite volunteers, local volunteers, and my talk is mainly about the local volunteers, but also volunteers from abroad. Next slide, please. So, of course, we are friends with the parents because the work is with children, but also with parents. And sometimes there are some classes for the parents run by psychologists. Also, some volunteers are good in working with parents. We have volunteers from Austria, because I know that in our audience here during this webinar is also Caritas Austria. Next slide, please. So children with special needs, are ill or very different illness. This year we also collaborate with state organization with hospitals, people with the hospital for children with hemopathology. It means with the blood illnesses, and also we collaborate with children and organization of parents for children which are in terminated state, close to death, and they try to spend some time in our center. So it is really very different illnesses. Next slide, please. For example, we organize also a hippotherapy, and this is one lady from Austria. This year it was 3 volunteers which were working with hippotherapy for children from Austria, and also all from Austria it was other volunteers who work with adults, Miss Susanna, and so really we try to organize specialists from abroad who during the summer are help us in some kind of mainly hippotherapy and working with adults. Next slide, please. So of course, always these 2 ladies for the photo which is in the on the down. These 2 ladies from Austria with our mothers who are in our local staffs, local clothes, and we have a horse, which is ours. Okay, next slide, please. No, meeting with parents, no, some adults, volunteers. Okay, next slide, please. From abroad, we have also volunteers, teenagers. Each year, we have some group of scouts from France. Next year it will be 12. This year it was 8. So we collaborate with some church organization, scouts organization. It is a males, boys are coming, and they help a lot, surely, because scouts are always very good. It means they are very well organized, and it is some structure which they already have, and they are volunteers during our camps. Next slide, please. One of our activity is organizing, for example, astronomy camps, which we organize it with the support of Caritas Japan already 7 or 8 years, and volunteers also are helping this, because always it is a need to organize icebreakers and to be with these teenagers who are coming for studying astronomy during the summer. About 120 people are coming. We organize 2 camps for 60 people, and also teachers of physics are coming, participating with their student pupils. So it is also a good, big field for volunteering, to be together with these young people, because each year there are coming the other ones, and we don't know them, but really generation, the same age generation are in better contacts. And so for me, for example, it's not easy to find a contact already with these young girls and boys, but for our volunteers it is. Okay, next slide, please. So like Father Guido said, our society is a Muslim society, and in Kyrgyzstan more than 90% of people are Muslim, and they participate in this, for example, astronomy camps, and also in others. When it is a camp for handicapped children, it is nobody cares what religion participants are, because mothers are very dedicated to their children, and they are Muslim, they are Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, and the main their identity is just to be dedicated to the children. But here in these camps connected with astronomy, it is quite strange that young, especially girls, are interested in the wider horizon. And also it is a good place for volunteers. Next slide, please. It is just a photo which are making students during these camps, photo of the sky, because it is some observation of the sky, because Kyrgyzstan is a very good place for, it is a mountain country, so we see a Milky Way who is coming down on Earth. And this is the last slide. Now I would like to invite our student, it is thanks for attention in Kyrgyz language. I invite our Regina, if you could share your experience and testimony, how it was to be a volunteer on the children camps. Just say a few words, please.
Okay, hello. Volunteering has become an important part of my life. I'm proud to be in such meaningful projects. Every summer, together with a team of volunteers from Kyrgyzstan, we organize camps for children. Our goal is not only to share knowledge and skills with them, to teach them how to be more independent and confident. We arrange various programs and educational conferences that help children grow and expand their horizons. In addition, through games and recreational activities, we create an atmosphere of trust and openness, ensuring that every child feels part of the community. It is especially valuable that volunteers from different countries, such as France, Poland, and other countries, participate in our camps. This international exchange of experience broadens our horizons. Each of us brings our own knowledge, culture, and ideas, which creates a unique atmosphere and opens up new opportunities for growth. We learn from each other and exchange experiences. For me, volunteering is not just a way to share knowledge and help others, but also an opportunity to develop my own skills. It has become a true school of life, where I learn how to work in a team, take on responsibility, make important decisions, and interact with people. Through participating in such projects, I have learned to be more open and creative. Besides practical skills, volunteering provides me with many new experiences and connections with interesting people. The time spent with children and other volunteers brings joy and inspiration, as you can see how your efforts truly make a difference in people's lives. I think volunteering opens doors to new opportunities, both personal and professional. It's not just an experience that can be added to a resume. It's a path that makes me a more aware and active person. I believe that in a world where people are increasingly focused on personal gain, Volunteering remains a powerful tool for creating a real change, both for individuals and for society as a whole. I would like to express special gratitude to Father Remigius for organizing camps and volunteers where we can prove ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much also for your attention. And no, it was our small testimony about organizing volunteers in Kyrgyzstan, and surely we should go forward. And it is a proper direction to meet also the nowadays modern people who are, as we know, we are on the social media, and really it is hard to find them in the real world, but it is possible, and it is a big need. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Regina, for such a comprehensive, sharing. It's very, it's something very enlightening, young students sharing so much about volunteerism. And thank you, Father, for such a colorful and engaging presentation. The photos that you have shared truly brought the experience to life. And it felt as if I was right there with you all. I hope everyone felt the same way. We are done with the presentations for today, and now we have 15 minutes for an open discussion. We can take up to 3 to 4 questions, and if we don't have questions, we can share our experiences that may help us build our knowledge. I think we will open the floor for discussion now. Over to everyone for sharing, for your questions.
Good evening, everyone. Arpana, it's not a question, but I just wanted to come in here to really appreciate Caritas Kazakhstan and Caritas Kyrgyzstan under the leadership of Father Kido and Father Remigius. They've been trying their level best in that difficult circumstances, both politically as well as geographically. And to add to that is also linguistic challenges for the rest of people, especially within Asia, to understand, relate, collaborate, and easily work together. But in spite of all this, they have been able to mobilize resources, whatever bit they could. And I'm happy to see the kind of growth and progress they are making within the organization and ultimately with the community of the country that they are working with, especially those who have been looking for opportunities and who are also finding it difficult because of all the circumstances. So really appreciate you also for coordinating this. Thank you. My appreciation goes to all the staff and volunteers who have really put in their effort to come up to this level, and I wish them all the best. Yeah, bye. Over to you, Alpana.
Thank you, Simri, for making some time in between all your workshops and virtual meetings. And thank you for your words.
Arpana, can I ask a question?
Yes, Ari.
Yes, I have a couple of questions to Caritas Kyrgyzstan. The first one is, do you also experience the same challenges as Caritas Kazakhstan in the context of Central Asia sub-region, where volunteers are easily come and go, and when the people who brought them leave, they also leave, and the same challenges in motivating and keep them keep the volunteers always ready for any Caritas mission in the organization. The second one is also the questions to both Caritas or probably all of you here also in the webinar. Is there any trainings or any orientations provided for the volunteers before they're joining Caritas work? Was there any capacity building or any time allocated for volunteers to get to know probably about Caritas work or other topics around volunteering in Caritas? Thank you.
For the first question, I think it's more related to Caritas Kazakhstan, right, Ari? So,
Kyrgyzstan, please.
Kyrgyzstan. So over to Father Remedios.
Yeah, it is always a problem, and it is not easy to solve this kind of questions. So really, we need some time for learning. So so far we have no special ideas.
And Ari, to your second question, maybe what Caritas Nepal has been doing, maybe I can share. We always respect the dignity of the people. So likewise for the volunteers also, we try to have an inclusive volunteers, like group of volunteers, regardless of their caste, religion, or their ethnicity. And so we prioritize capacity building of the volunteers. We give them an orientation about what Caritas is, obviously, because we want them to know where the funding comes from, how the funds of the Caritas are collected, because then only they will realize the essence of Caritas. And we have further, usually for the humanitarian assistance, we train them on needs assessment and then on Kobo toolbox, sometimes on meal, especially on the exit, during the exit interview, how we could mobilize them and all. So besides that, in the regular development work also, we have various volunteers. Some are for short period of time, some are for some period of time. We have a defined period of time. So during the course of time, depending on the nature of the project also, build their capacity. So from Caritas Nepal perspective is there. Maybe some others would like to add on this.
Thank you, Arpana.
Yes, Arpana, I can also share. Yeah. Good afternoon, all. So, in our India perspective, also we used to develop, conduct some capacity building activities for volunteers, because many times we incorporated volunteers as a component of projects. Okay, each projects have involve some of the volunteers from the field. That is most of our projects have that agenda. So that's why the capacity building is also part of the project progress. The volunteers also get trained over the period of time. That is the one thing we are doing. Yeah, sometimes very specifically we are training people for some specific areas like disaster response, distribution, or kind of capacity building initiative we used to take. Yes, that's it. Over.
Hi, Arpana. There is one question in the chat box. This is from Dr. Edward Palaprojario from Bangladesh. Are you paying any honorarium to volunteers? I think that goes to both Caritas Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan? Please answer honestly. No, just kidding.
Unfortunately, no. Just to.
Father,
It will
go
be
ahead.
good to have to give something, but to flowers, only flowers and cookies.
Not actually what happened so far, no. But we are planning and we were thinking even before that surely eventually expenses that volunteers could have in connection with the activity of the project. So surely would be in charge of their organization. I mean, traveling or buying equipment or buying something that is needed by the work. So surely we cannot pretend from the volunteers. So in this light, we didn't how to say applied in the real work so far, but it's clear from this point of view, not for the work, but for what is needed by the project. And going back to your question, your second question. It's important to transmit to the volunteers that volunteering is not only a matter of good heart, you know. It's not so easy, at least in our experience. I don't want to say that is for everybody is the same, taking account of the context. It's important to let them understand that they are working, they are doing something on behalf of the organization. So they are in some way, even in small activities, they are the face, let's say, of the organization. So they have to realize this. And the second moment mainly is connected with, for example, the project for children with Down syndrome. It's clear, again, is not only a matter of good heart. They know to learn what it means to work with these children, all the aspects of the work, of the of the how to say the behavior and of the skills that the children need to work with. So surely we have not until now a real training preparing the volunteers to do something to work with the children, but we are doing something anyway before letting them start with this work.
Thank you, Father Guido. And there is a sharing from Caritas Philippines, various training for volunteers in Caritas Philippines. It's more on Catholic social teaching, volunteer management, organizational development, see meal, feedbacking, protection, safe and dignified programming, and other like soft skill trainings. And maybe some other Caritas would like to share the experience. Yes, Dr. Edward.
Yeah, in Bangladesh, we are also having the volunteers of different types of volunteers in Bangladesh. So we are doing some adolescent program in different villages and the remote areas. And there are some of the volunteers like the medical doctors and teachers and parish council members. They are also helping voluntarily with our adolescent boys and girls and also adolescent parents. So they're also very much helpful. And we are also in our different types of management committee. In the management committee, there are also some of the priests, religious sisters, and lay persons. They are also working with Caritas Bangladesh as a volunteer. So this is very much effectively we are doing in Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Edward. We can see future volunteers sitting on your lap, sneaking at the screen.
Yeah. Just say hello.
Yeah, so I don't see any hand raised. Does anyone have anything to share, or do you have any question? Or we move to the another session? Ari, should we move?
Arpana,
Yeah, sorry.
Arpana,
Yes.
one comment. Yeah, regarding this honorarium for volunteers, this was a discussion point in our country also. There was a question like, if we are paying something to volunteers, then really is it a volunteering then it is a kind of paid work. So what we are doing here is we are reimbursing the basic expenses, travel cost and all, and sometimes it is a food allowances. That's it. Other than that, if we are paying more, that is spirit. It's against the spirit of volunteerism. That is our discussion means understanding here. Uh, but we are issuing certificates like volunteering certificates. Sometimes we are conducting like annually we are conducting appreciation meeting for volunteers. These are some of the things we are practicing here. Thank you.
It's obviously, if we are not paying, we should respect them with recognition and also by empowering them, right? Over to Rennie Fortuno. Yeah, you have raised your hands.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rene Fortuno from Caritas Parañaque, one of the cities here in the Philippines. If I may share in terms of volunteering, we normally bracket the volunteers like the youth, the young professionals, and the retirees. And each and every bracket, we engage them based on their capability to donate their time or even resources or technical expertise. Because in the case of disaster preparedness, for example, we have more involvement from the youth compared to the elderly. But when we talk about pastoral concerns in the church, like managing finances, construction of certain church facilities, we rely on the professional volunteers that we have. So what I can share is that we somehow segmentize the volunteers, the youth, the young professionals, the top rate executives, government officials, and the retirees. And we engage them depending on their capacities, based on their ability to donate resources and connections also when you try to advocate for certain reforms in development programming. So that's all I can share. Thank you very much and congratulations to the organizers.
Thank you, Renee. It was such a wonderful sharing. Like regardless of age, also you are taking volunteers based on their capacity and ability, and even for resource mobilization. Thank you. Some other Caritas Philippines, yeah, Jenny.
Hi again. Now this reminds me again the questions about the incentives. No, it is actually part of the principles of the volunteerism. So it again reminds me on our volunteer management, the principles behind it. That really, we have 8 principles of volunteering, and I think it's really going back to the perspective that volunteerism is a choice. I think that's the number one perspective that we are always talking about. And with regard to the, yes, what Rene mentioned, and I really appreciate that yeah, there's really a lot of each one of the country here. Actually, the Caritas Asia, they have a very strong or strategies on how they really. I also want to commend the Caritas Kazakhstan. I really appreciate Father Dido that all still there. So I really appreciate that kind of the one that you really instill to all the volunteers. Yes, it is a challenge, but small in numbers, but slowly you are really getting into it. You have a lot of very committed volunteers. So I really commend on that, and to all the volunteers here and all the staff of the Caritas Asia. Congratulations to all of you, and you are indeed the local heroes. And hooray to all the volunteers, and kudos to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. I think like everyone's sharing their experience. I think we have to acknowledge Caritas Asia, and because through Peach Project, we were able to have the training on volunteer management, and we have a facilitation guide book also. It's in the website. You can go through it if you haven't been able to go through it. And this has been a asset for all the Caritas members. If we are able to follow it, it's the volume management guideline is it's very handy, very easy to use. So thank you, Caritas Asia, for that support also. I think we had a lot of sharing and a lot of like good insight from everyone. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Dilesh Verghese, the meal lead from Caritas India, to share his concluding remarks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arpana. Sorry, I'm not feeling well, so my voice is a little shaky. Please bear with me. Yeah. Good evening, all. Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. It is a discussion. All these are excellent initiatives, and I appreciate all country team for sharing their experiences and discussion. My responsibility is to summarize. Okay. Yeah. Yes. First of all, we discussed about Jenny shared about depending on nature of the community, the volunteers responsibilities and volunteers, it is different. The context is different. Uh, so but it is at that same times we can promote this volunteerism, the community participation, community meal. She discussed about community meal, and through this volunteerism help us to increase our community participation. That is the core value of our Catholic social teaching of solidarity, subsidiarity, and also that is one of the important point you shared. Following following to that, thanks to Father Guido and team for sharing experience from Kazakhstan. Uh, yes, it is a relatively a new organization, but you already, doing wonderful work. Congratulations, Father. Uh, I think one of the important point I noticed is in Kazakhstan, yes, there are a lot of challenges, but there is a opportunity for promoting volunteerism. Government itself promoting it. Another point, the efforts of whatever the Kazakhstan is doing is very very commendable job. One of the important point I noticed, as father said, most of the volunteers are coming from church fraternity itself, but there are some more people as a beneficiary group is also joining us as beneficiaries, as volunteers. That is a very important thing. That is I think, one of the inclusive approach with what we are talking. So that we can leverage through volunteers, I think so. Then we are also facing the same challenge. The most of our volunteers are from our community itself, or Catholics only. So I think we can include more people from outside the community also. That is also important point. We can consider generally volunteers from Catholic community, but we have to register more people. So that is the one thing I feel we can focus. Father Guido and team shared a lot of challenges, especially in Kazakhstan point of view. um, Cultural factors. Yes, of course, they are from the Soviet culture, so there is a difficulty in stable communities, and transition is happening. It is a small community, but the transition is happening. That is always a challenge. Yeah, but um, at the same time, father is also agreed that there is a huge role of volunteers, because realities in terms of reach maximum people. So we can leverage through volunteers to reach out to more peripheries, more untouched areas. So that is one of the scope we have. And one of the challenges, another challenges father pointed out that, the volunteers are not motivated and engaged. Yes, that is a real challenge. Engagement is a problem. Once they are registered, they we are not. Sometimes we miss their link and they are not able to connect, or they are disappearing, simply disappearing. Actually, we are investing in human capital and we are capacitating them. Then, if it is not consistent, then I feel that is a challenge. For that, I think we can more kind of registration process. We can maintain the whereabouts. Now the community is more technologically more friendly. So we can connect through them. We have to initiate some kind of registration process. I think that will help. Yeah, the major impact areas father said was, one is Down syndrome, engaging people with the Down syndrome, and the disaster response, food basket distribution, and all. So yes, of course, that's everywhere. We are using volunteers. That is a good initiative, by the way. But in the meal perspective, I think Kazakhstan is a good example how to use volunteers in feedback mechanism. Feedback which uh, father in the presentation, father mentioned that it was difficulties getting feedback which is unclear or inconsistent in there. There is a lack of feedback. Yes, this we are also facing this kind of issues. Communities are not very open to share challenges. In my case, in India case, there is a cultural factor. Like community, if we are providing something and we are helping them in a difficult time, they are always looking as a gratitude perspective. So they don't want to say anything wrong about us. So, but here I feel feedback and complaint mechanism, we are not only considering this as just as a complaint. In feedback mechanism and this accountability mechanism, they can encourage any services. They can ask question. We are creating a platform. In that perspective, whatever the Kazakhstan is doing, that is a wonderful work. That is a good for starting. Volunteers, another perspective is, I feel as an organization, we asking any feedback or complaints. They are very resistant to say. But if the volunteers are coming from within the community, they can easily access more genuine and relevant feedback for us. So that is a I think good one. Thank you, Father. Yes, in the Kyrgyzstan perspective, yes, Father, it was a very wonderful presentation. Especially, it's a lot of, as Arpana said, it is a full of photos and very vibrant photos. Thank you. I feel in Kyrgyzstan, children with special needs, you are working, that is itself a challenging area. That itself a challenging area. It's not everybody's cup of tea. We are normally working with the normal disability people. Then there itself a lot of challenges, but that is good initiatives, and you are involved in international and national volunteers. That is also important. Sometimes we increasing our visibility. That is also one challenge. In between we discuss, we are not at all visible in some places. So through volunteers we can become more visible internationally and nationally. That is the one of the strategy I think I can learn from Kyrgyzstan, because yes, these volunteers are our ambassadors. They will go out and they will tell about us. So that is the one of the thing we can means adapt from Kyrgyzstan. And another thing is you are using more innovative approaches. Yes, this is a really new thing for me, because you are using uh, uh, different therapies and uh, what was exactly that you are seeing galaxies and all that is especially good for children, and it is really impressive, Father. um, then astronomy point of view, that is really catching for me. Yes, these are the main points. Especially, I congratulate Regina. Regina, thank you very much for participating the meeting and sharing your experience. As Alpana said already, you shared your experience very well. Thank you very much. And I think yes, one point is very important from Regina's discussion. I feel is both the professional and personal development. Yes, are we really? I was reflecting. Are we really focusing on this aspect, or just involving them and yes, work done and go? No, we are also giving something back to volunteers other than good memories. Okay, so maybe some kind of good some kind of skill, some kind of the learning from our side. I think that you did very well, Father Remigius. So I think the testimony is coming from Regina itself. That's highly appreciated. That's the main thing. And I think all the discussion points we already answered. These were the main discussion points. Yes, of course, that's it. Yes, of course, this is Advent season. Yeah. So there was a story. There was a poor shepherd boy visited baby Jesus in Bethlehem, but he has nothing to give to Jesus Christ. Then shepherd encouraged by Mother Mary and saying, "You give what you can carry inside you." Mary put baby Jesus in shepherd's arm and says, "Here is for all humankind. We are each given a gift." So, yes, Mother Mary volunteered for us, giving Jesus, and Jesus volunteered for us to save us. So, advance Christmas wishes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dilesh, for summarizing the whole webinar. And even summarizing the takeaways that we can take ahead in our work, the major learnings. And I think we have come to the end of today's webinar. Before I call Ari for this closing remarks from Caritas Asia on behalf of Caritas Asia, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your active participation. And to end my facilitation, I'd like to share a quote by Audrey Hepburn. As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others. Thank you once again. Over to you, Ari.
Thank you so much, Arpana. Thank you, everyone, for this wonderful webinar. Please be informed that this is not the only and the last sharing on volunteers. I think because we are celebrating International Volunteers Day each year, but it doesn't limit our sharing. I mean, if you want to share something next year, like next month, every month, then feel free to let us know. And please reach out to us. This time we hear from Central Asia subregions. Probably next time we'll hear more from other subregions within Caritas Asia. We have Southeast Asia, we have South Asia, and East Asia. So we also would like to learn more from them. They have different contexts, different needs, different challenges, also different ways of managing their volunteers. So we will share this webinar recording through YouTube channel, Caritas Asia YouTube channel, and we will inform you later on, or you can check probably after 1 week, and then you'll see the recording there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as well. And I'd like to use this opportunity to thank Caritas Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, the team, and also the volunteers for sharing experiences and of Caritas volunteers' work in your organization. Thank you also to Caritas Nepal, Caritas India, Caritas Philippines for supporting us, for being here, facilitating, and also sharing also from your perspective, from your experience. And to our friends in Caritas Cambodia who prepared the flyer. The webinar flyer was wonderfully created by the communication team of Caritas Cambodia. Thank you very much for that. And thank you very much to all of you for being here and for actively participating in this webinar. We wish you all the best for the weekend. Enjoy your evening and enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you again next time in other Caritas Asia webinar. Thank you very much, everyone.